What is up, everybody? Welcome to Downunder The Ring. I am your host today, Phid McAwesome, and usually I would be joined by the one and only Warship, but look, he's on the bench at the moment. He's got an injury. The PC is down. So we were going to take a break and come back once his studio was up and running again. But look, so much has happened in the last week. We could not miss putting out a podcast this week. So we have tagged in a replacement for the tag team, and we have the one and only Ryan Betson. He is the voice of MXW, of APW, of Deathmatch Down Under, and he's the man behind the scenes getting shit done at Renegades of Wrestling. He's basically all over the place in the Melbourne wrestling scene. Welcome to the show, and thank you for joining us, bro.
Oh, dude, no worries. Well, thanks for having me. I love being substitute Betson. It's like, it's the best part. But yeah, no, I am all. It's kind of funny. Like, I kind of forget until like I start listing it out. I'm like, oh, that one, and that one. Oh man, and that one. And there's one that I never did one show, but I did that one too. And I was like, oh, okay.
I think the thing that trips me up the most about, like, you're all over pro wrestling in Melbourne, but you're not an old wrestling fan like myself and Shippy and basically almost everybody that listens to this. Like, you're a relative newcomer to the pro wrestling as a fan.
Yeah, 100%. I'll tell the story if you're giving me a moment. But yeah, so for those that don't know, hi, Ryan. So yeah, I'm pretty new to the wrestling game in that it was 2018, I think. So I previously used to work in a role in a department that I created where we use video games to help support youth and young adults understand themselves and the world around them, those that are neurodiverse, have mental health challenges, etc. And then I've been a content creator for the better part of the last decade. So with my day job,
we should plug the podcast as well.
Oh, well, I'll plug that surely. Don't get me wrong. So with my day job being games and my side hustle being games, I burnt out so quickly. And what used to be my escape from the world and like my way to calm and relax suddenly got lost. I was like, well, what am I going to do? And sure enough, at the time, they were like, hey, MCG, WWE Super Showdown. I was like, oh, you know, I remember wrestling being popular in my youth. It wasn't for me. I didn't have cable, so I couldn't watch it at the time. I'm like, let's give it a whirl. I did. I watched a couple of episodes of like Raw and SmackDown heading in, so I got to experience the whole story of Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, which Samoa Joe was trying to implant himself in AJ Styles' family, and then he got mad and just threatened to punch everyone, like his wife, his kid, his dog, you fucking name it. He wanted to
just standard
like,
Joe.
And I'm like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and I love it.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I became a wrestling fan, and it was a shame the next show was Crown Jewel. I was a bit bummed, but
because that was the era of non-canon Saudi shows.
Correct. Yeah. So in hindsight,
so your fandom, the start of your fandom, was that going to the event?
No, I didn't go. I was going to, and then I saw the prices. I went, oh, I don't care that much. Now though, I would have paid double what I saw.
Oh, dude.
I wish I went.
It was funny because I was supposed to go to that event. There was a brand who was heavily involved in my work who were heavily involved in that event. And I was invited to go along. And I was so excited because, dude, lifelong wrestling fan, I get to see The Undertaker in a stadium. And that was literally, it was Undertaker. That was why I wanted to go. But we ended up having some, I can't remember if it was family stuff or work stuff or, oh no, that's what it was. My wife had to go to New Zealand for work. So I was stuck over in Sydney looking after my kids. So I just couldn't make it. Yeah. I was gutted.
Yeah, and like as you mentioned, like in hindsight now, like knowing that I'll never see Taker, I'll never see Triple H, probably never see Shawn Michaels. I'm like, oh, it's a good thing because I happened to fall in love with wrestling when it was at its shittest. So it's really nice now that things are amazing. So it's like I get to kind of experience it. I got to experience the beginnings of AEW as that, you know, it's a really like kind of the best time to get into professional wrestling. And then from there, I was like, I got to check out some local wrestling. Actually,
so you weren't involved as a wrestling fan in the era of hate watching Raw?
No, because I was watching it but I was also doing my own podcast at the time called The Young and the Wrestlers. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, I fell in love with wrestling. I can't seem to make anything not work. So
Yeah.
I made a show, and it was really hard to try and make an engaging show when it sucked. Because,
Yeah.
the whole gimmick of our show was that we would treat it as real as possible, right?
Yeah.
We would be in the kayfabe. We'll try speculate about why they would do this. And because there's 1,000 podcasts in the world about professional wrestling, but it's always, everyone's trying to do, a wrestling
The
observer,
scandal and the news.
it's like, nah,
Yeah.
let's treat it as it. Let's embrace the fucking stupid and the soap opera that is the young and the wrestling. So hence the Young and the Wrestlers. So yeah, from there I was like, oh, cool. And then I remember getting an invite to go and see Fighting with My Family.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, sweet. So we went to the premiere.
I
here in
remember
Melbourne.
being so jealous when I saw the photo come out of you going to that. I was just like, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, it was a good swing.
Because I wanted, out of all the movie premieres I've been invited to in my job, that was probably the one where I was like, I want to go to that one. And the invite never came through.
So I went to the thing just expecting to go watch a show. I went with my friend Jem, who is she was my Sherpa in my wrestling love, right? So we went there, and they had a ring set up in the foyer of Hoyt's in Melbourne Central, and in there was Slex versus Lockie Hendricks. And in that moment, I fell in love with in-person wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, Lockie Hendricks to this day is by far one of the best wrestlers to ever hit in Melbourne. And like I work with him now. So I remember the first time I actually had a sat down, I said, hey, this is the thing that got me into wrestling. I fell in love with it. It was you and Select, because they both had sunnies as their gimmick. So like for them, they were like having this battle to who will be first take off the sunnies. And, it was this whole thing. And I went, I need to go wherever these guys are.
Yeah. And
so that was MCW, Melbourne City Wrestling. So I went to a couple of shows there. Then the whole pandemic happened. So that was a bummer. But then I got really involved with Deathmatch Down Under, sort of got involved in the deathmatch scene. So where I started as just going, seeing my friends, which then became, hey, can you help us with ring crew? Yeah, sure, whatever. So here I am packing down rings, sweeping up broken glass, which then went into, hey, you know how to use like AV shit. Can you run all our music? Yeah, sure, why not? So I did that AV for them, and then I went and did AV for a promotion that did one show called Anarchy Pro Wrestling, and then I fell into commentary for DMDU, for Adrenaline Pro Wrestling, as well as MXW, which is a new promotion out of Country Vic. Yeah, and then from there, I got involved with Renegades of Wrestling as well. And as you mentioned, I'm sort of the man about town. So I'm kind of like a bit of a gopher. I just sort of do whatever's the team needs. You'll always see me around the ring, helping people find their seats, being the door, just being the energetic person that I am, sort of keeping that vibe, working in that real sort of community management side of what we do. And I've been chatting with the team. We're doing a bit more with them this year as well. And yeah, so what began as just like, oh, I'm enjoying this, became something way
it's
bigger.
Almost like you speed ran
I did
wrestling fandom.
Yeah.
Like
I went straight from like,
here's the thing I like. Oh my god, this is crazy. I'm gonna watch this every week. I want to be involved, and now here you are.
Yeah, it was just a really skilled falling up, pretty much, just falling upwards into cool positions. And
it's funny because as a lifelong wrestling fan, like my wrestling fandom started in the 80s as a kid. And, you fall out of love and you fall back in love, and as most wrestling fans have done over the years. And I've always sort of been looking for my way of getting involved in the industry now that I'm an adult and all that. And I'm like, I want to get involved somehow. And I still haven't found that apart from doing this show.
Hey, well, admittedly, the show, The Young and the Wrestlers, is what got me involved in that, we would do essentially review shows or breakdowns of Deathmatch Down Under. And then they checked it out, and then we got hit up by the team. And they're like, hey, do you want to just come hang out? I'm like, yeah, we'll come hang out. Sure, why not?
Amazing.
Yeah. And it's all good. And like, for me, as I mentioned, like wrestling was something to give me that mental health break, right? And it's fascinating. Like, very few things in this world fill my cup as much as going to wrestling, being the big extroverted person I am, it's great energy. Like, I
Mm.
see my friends, it's cool, it's adrenaline. I take my son with me now as well. So he's just turned 7.
Oh, and that's the perfect age to
yeah.
get kids into wrestling, bro.
Yeah.
So it's funny you say it because my eldest son was roughly around about that age when I got back into wrestling, which was peak Cena, CM Punk, and
Yep.
the what is it, the Straight Edge Society era and all that sort of thing. And he got me back into it. And it was so fun because he was a Cena kid naturally, and I was a CM Punk guy, and being able to have that rivalry with my kid while we were watching was so fun.
Yeah. Because like for me, it's that next level as well. Because I'm working with all these people, and like I'm at the comms desk.
Do you try and keep it real for him?
Oh yeah, he has an understanding, right? He has an understanding that like if everyone's going in, because he arrives when I arrive, right? So he sees everyone practicing and planning out their spots, and he's fascinated by it. Something about watching him like see them plan it out and then seeing it in action just breaks his brain.
Yeah.
But because they know me and they know him, like they use him as crowd work. It's the best.
Yeah.
Because they know they can come and like get in his face, and because he knows that who they are, so he knows that he can yell back, and we have the you're allowed to swear at the wrestling rule. So
that's amazing.
So he gets to kind of get really involved.
And like you said, you came in at a time where wrestling was starting to get good, and in the last 12 months, things have just been getting better and better as a wrestling fan. It's got to the point where I think I started off last year as maybe I'll give WWE a bit more investment, to the point where I'm now like, I can't miss WWE now.
See, it's fascinating. So I went the other way. I obviously kicked things off with WWE, loved it. Then AEW came around, and then I fell in love with AEW because it hit differently. And then now, I can't tell you the last time I watched AEW. Like, no slight against the brand. I still love what they do. I follow it on socials and whatnot. But like, I haven't watched a full episode of Dynamite. I've watched any Collision ever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just...
You didn't even watch during the Punk era.
Oh, no, I watched the Punk debut, the big first one, I think. But like, I've not... Yeah. It's on a Sunday, so it's super weird timing for us.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like, over time, I just kind of fell out. And I think it's because I love the soap opera and the spectacle and all this, like, the storytelling, I guess.
Yeah.
And AEW does great storytelling. Like, I still argue that the Hangman story heading into him winning the title is one of the best bits of wrestling I've ever seen in my entire life. The level of nuance in that story and relatability
Punk and MJF
in that story
was some amazing storytelling.
Bang on. And like, there are moments where it's killer, but there are just moments where it's not. And WWE, I found because of the spread of talent, there's a lot more consistency. And then plus all the flash and all the characters, and it's just the wrestling that I like to speculate.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty much the same. And some of the criticism that we've done on this show over the last couple of months against AEW hasn't been against their work as wrestlers. It's been around the most engaging stories have been MJF, once again. And that's probably about it.
Well, yeah, because it's one of those things like the Bucks are out for a little, because post brawl out, like it kind of went really quiet, and I don't know. Yeah, it's just it lost me somewhere, and it bummed me out.
Yeah,
but now I get it with WWE, and I'm happy with that. And of course, all the shows I work, so it's perfect.
And of course, this week we had Raw Day One. Interesting seeing the Day One branding coming back. But I think it just worked out really nicely that Raw was happening on the first day of the year. And what a show. Like, before we get to the main news of the show, I would have to say, like, bell to bell, start to finish of this show was so good.
Yeah.
Like, usually, even in this new Triple H era of WWE, you still have your filler matches every now and then, and just stuff where you time to walk away and go for a pee and come back, you know. But the 3 hours of Raw this week felt like an hour and a half. Like, it rolled past so fast.
Yeah.
It was just such a well-paced show, and it was just such an interesting show to watch. But then, of course, we had the big tease coming into the show, which was there is going to be a returning WWE champion.
See, it's insane that you called it, because you were like on the social, it's Jinder Mahal. I went, I'm going to do one worse. It's Braun Strowman. And that's what I said in my head, right? Because Universal Champion for like 25 minutes, whatever it was. I was like, yeah, that would be disappointing. But then Jinder Mahal came. I was like, that's pretty disappointing.
And the thing is, I literally, when that tweet came out from Triple H, I thought to myself, who was the most ridiculous champion that I could think of that they would bring back on Raw as a joke? And
Jinder.
The fact that I got it right.
Because isn't he like
hilarious.
messing about in NXT right now?
It's the only thing I've seen him on was NXT, and even then I think it's very sparse, which is funny because he has a really close relationship with Drew McIntyre in real life. So I'm kind of amazed that Drew hasn't pushed to work with him.
Yeah. Because I think there was some, a little while ago now, like there was some sort of like something happening with them, but yeah.
Yeah,
how vague was that, Ryan? What a vague sentence.
But it's never come to fruition.
No.
But they bring out Jinder Mahal, and the crowd reaction, priceless.
Beautiful.
Like almost anger in that disappointment, right? It was perfect. I will say
Can we just say
reaction,
shout out to Jinder for willingness to be the butt of this joke?
Oh, he leaned in, right? Like, there's no way that he did not know, right? He's like, all right, they clearly are taking the piss out of me, but I'm going to go out there and do some amazing character work.
Yeah, I'm going to sell it like it's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, and he's probably the best. It was probably the best segment I've seen where they've brought someone out to be that lead-in for a return.
The only other one I can think of, but like it was both positive, was like the Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson reveal.
Oh, that was a positive. But what I was going to say was the Austin Theory ones have been doing. And the last few times, like when Rock came back, it was Austin Theory. When Cena came back, it was Austin Theory. I think they've even done an Austin versus Austin one.
Ooh.
I think they've had Stone Cold come out as well.
I think so. Shout out to ADHD memory, by the way. But
totally, I'm exactly the same. Yeah. And you'll probably find during this show the amount of times I'll go, that guy.
We'll tangent and come back to a memory that we kind of forgot about earlier.
But what I was actually getting ready to write a tweet during the Jinder Mahal segment, because there's a part of me, and look, I am that woke anti-racism guy on Twitter. Anyone who follows me knows that I get a bit pissed off when something is,
as you should,
right? And I was actually writing out a tweet. I was like, this is so stereotypical, using the Indian guy to be the bad guy and taking the piss out of America, blah, 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 blah. And I was literally about to hit send on a tweet where I was writing about it. And then the Rock pop happened.
Yeah.
And I just forgot all about it, and I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And look, it was totally the normal shtick, right?
Yeah.
Rock comes out, does exactly what Cena does as well, comes out, buries the young guy on
does the
roster,
greatest hits, and then...
But buries the guy who's actually signed and has to come back to work next week. Yeah. And I was genuinely thinking it was just like last time, right? Last time... they had him come in, completely ignore the fact that his family are falling apart in the bloodline, completely ignoring the fact that his daughter is in a cult. Nope, it was Austin Theory being a douchebag that brought him back. But in this time it was Jinder Mahal talking shit about America that brought him back. And that's what I thought it was just going to be, right?
Yeah.
Bring him back for a pop and he was going to be gone. However, we get that entire shtick, and he has that final line, and I had no idea where it was going at first, right?
Yeah.
It was the whole, I'm hungry, I'm going to go eat, but I need you guys to help me. Where am I going to eat? Where am I going to sit?
Yeah.
Should I sit in a booth? All right, weird. Should I sit at a bar? Okay, maybe this is going to be some sort of advertising thing.
I had one of the, in that Zootopia movie where that sloth kind of gets that whole, that slow smile. That's right. I'm like, where are you going with? Don't you fucking
Or should I
Yeah.
sit at the head of the table?
And in that moment, I'm sure both you and I squealed, because I know I did.
I wouldn't say I squealed. I was just
I
like,
straight up squealed. I did
it's
that.
happening.
Like the Flanders with the purple drapes. Like, fuck!
Well, I think I almost did the Office meme. Oh my God, guys, it's happening. It's happening.
I was sitting here at my desk and I started screaming, and like my son was here because he comes like, Dad, what's going on? And like my housemates in the kitchen were like, are you all right? I'm like, it's the Rock.
Yeah, and look, I was just like, oh my God, this is awesome. We're finally going to get it. Rock versus Roman at Mania. It was supposed to happen last year. Rock's confirmed it was supposed to happen last year. I thought we weren't going to get it because the strikes are over, so Rocky's going to be going back to work.
That's why Cena's out of here.
Yeah, that's why Cena's gone. But Rock's not working at the moment for the first time in a long time. He's not filming anything. So it all makes sense. It all lines up. And so instantly that begs the question is, if Roman versus Rock is happening, who's getting bumped from this card, right?
Yeah.
And do you think if it happens at Mania, we'll get into other location speculations later, it happens at Mania, like, do we still get Roman versus Cody to finish the story? Is that too much Roman Reigns for one weekend?
That's a lot of Roman Reigns for one weekend. But
and that's also taking other people off the card, right? So I can't help but see the irony that after 10 years, CM Punk comes back and potentially will lose the main event, lose out on that main event spot because Rocky's come back. Like, the irony in that situation is hilarious to me.
My entire speculation around what this could be or how this will work is based on the title. Yeah. And that is the title that is the belt, and the title that is the title of head of the table.
Yeah.
They're the two things. And that is where it sits for me. So my belief is this entire feud with Rock and Roman won't be about the belt. Like, pardon me, they might come face to face at some point, probably before Chamber.
Yeah.
And then he goes, you're not getting this belt. He's like, I don't want the fucking belt.
Yeah.
I've had enough belts. I've had enough belts in my time. I've got more belts than you ever will, right?
Yeah.
What I am here for is the title of head of the table. You think, blah, 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 cut promo, right?
Absolutely. And this is the thing, as a Kiwi from a Pacific Island point of view, right, is there is so much nuanced story to tell with the culture of Samoa, sending money back to the islands, feeding your family, the person who is the actual chief of the family. And we all know Rocky's grandfather was the high chief, right? So who has the lineage of chieftain? It's Rocky, right? We don't need the belt in the story at all.
Not at all. Yeah, and the best thing about it, right? Because they can even, bring it external to the wrestling. Like, The Rock has gone off and done all this. He's cemented his name. He's cemented the lineage, right? Yes.
And if anyone's got the money to feed the family,
exactly. And like, Roman, you're in a movie once. You're in Hobbs and Shaw, thanks to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the whole angle that they can go there. And this is why I think it will happen before Mania. But if it does go to Mania, there's a chance that you might get opening night, Roman night 1, close night 2 with Cody. Like, that's the only way you're going to get it, because you can't main event both nights.
Yeah.
Because
I've heard some speculation that there could be some fuckery where Cody ends up getting the Money in the Bank from Priest and all that sort of thing. But I think that waters down the story.
That's overbooking it too hard.
Oh, absolutely. But it's the main point, I think, is it waters down the story.
Yes.
Right. The story is you earn the title.
Yes.
Like, he wants to be Dusty and earn the title, stand on the ring ropes, holding that title up because he earned it, not because he got to get out of jail free speed run to win the title after someone else has beaten the shit out of him.
Yeah, which is the exact same reason that I don't see Cody winning the Rumble. Like, that's Punk's, 100%.
Yep.
That's Punk Rollins. That's a book. That's a lot. You lock that in.
Yep.
And from here to there is what you do to get there.
Yep.
So whether Cody goes to Chamber, wins the Chamber, gets his shot, right?
Yep.
Because I have a whole thing about Chamber, not just because it's here in Australia, but I have some things. But yeah, and looking, as much as I love The Rock, he got pretty gassed. Like, that people's elbow, trying to cut the promo, he had a bit of a hard time. So hence the opening night.
I did message Shippy about this, and Shippy's response to me was, it'll only take a couple of months to get ring ready.
Oh, yeah.
He just needs to get some cardio in.
Well, because it's one of those things, that's muscle memory at this point, right? Like, he's just got to, like, work it, and he's there. He has nothing else to do. What the fuck else are you going to do?
All he has to do is get the cardio up.
Yeah. Look, don't get me wrong. If you and I had nothing to do for the next 2 months, I'm sure we could do fantastic things.
Oh, look.
And we're not The Rock. We're not as genetically
Renegades of Wrestling, book it.
Yeah. Betson versus Phid. There you go.
Yeah.
No one will care but you and me.
For the podcast title.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, I think that can happen. Like, hence the other thing would be, because Roman matches do tend to go for a while. There's always a lot of fuckery. So I think having it be the opener, it's really ballsy to have The Rock be an opener, but what's the best spot on the card? You either open or you close.
Exactly. And you could potentially do it either end of Mania, right? As you have Rocky versus Roman open day one.
Or you go the other way. Oh, no, the Cody thing would be better if it was the last
Cody needs to, if you got Cody versus Roman, it needs to end day two, I think.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there's literally the only person who can out-staunch Roman and all of the rest of the bloodline is Rocky. Because Dwayne's the only person that has... There's this thing in Polynesian culture, which is mana, right? And mana is more than just pride. It's pride, it's respect, it's all that sort of thing. And mana is important, right? And I guarantee you, in that family, the one living member who is still active, who has the most mana, is Rocky, right? Apart from their elders, who Rikishi would have more mana than Rocky.
Yeah.
All right. But the thing is, there's an amazing story to tell there, and including Rikishi, including the Samoan dynasty, right? All those other members. And I think you have to get them all involved.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big story to tell. That's a huge story to tell.
But with that in mind as well, I don't think anything would be more powerful, especially for individuals of that culture, come Mania, like that entrance. The entrance that is Roman, that is Rock, that is like that whole...
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm not even from that culture. I'm excited. I'm like, why does they come? I'm like, that would be insane.
Especially if you drop Rocky's usual, if you smell what the Rock's cooking intro, like, you don't do that straight away. Like, you do a full Samoan intro.
Yeah.
Like, you bring out the Samoan performance at the start and all that sort of thing, and then you drop the, if you smell what the Rock's cooking, because you still need that pop.
Well, and if anyone's seen, was it Fast and the Furious 8?
I haven't seen anything past 4.
Well,
maybe Fast 5.
In the beginning of the movie, from memory, Rock's character, he's the coach of his kids' like soccer team, and that's like an underage soccer team, and they're all doing this mad haka, just like fucking with these kids, and like, well, so we can do a mean one. So imagine that WrestleMania level, like
exactly. Amazing. And I think you need to embed the culture in that.
Because it's what it is. It's a nod to not just Roman. It's not a nod just to Rock. It is a nod to that entire family. Right?
Yeah, and that family has been involved in pro wrestling since forever. And that's everywhere from Polynesian pro wrestling in Hawaii to New Zealand, the New Zealand pro wrestling with on the mat back in the 70s and 80s, right through to the WWF with Vince's dad, right? Like, they have been an integral part of pro wrestling globally, especially in the Western world.
Oh, because it's pretty much like them, the Hearts, obviously the
Yeah.
McMahons, and then like the Dusty.
The Rhodeses.
Yeah,
Yeah. And saying that, you don't get the Rhodes family until after Dusty. So,
yeah.
like, this family precedes
Hence why I
Dusty.
said Dusty, not Rhodes, because it's like
Yeah.
it started with him and then it went everywhere else.
Yeah. And yeah, it's an amazing story to tell. But the implications that happen by having Rock and Roman, like already bringing Punk back, has completely changed the landscape of Mania, right? Like, sadly, LA Knight, who I would have said 3 months ago is a main eventer at Mania, he's out.
No, he's not main eventing. He will
he's got
have
the
a good
opportunity to
shot.
steal the show.
Yes, he will. There will be an incredible spot. Because I saw a thing on Twitter and I kind of expanded on it a little bit. I like where this person was going, and I kind of building up this
what was the
potential
booking
card.
there?
So the card that this person threw together for Mania, which made me go, oh. Let me just find it in my in my chats. Here we go. So this is the card that this person put together, and I expanded it a little bit because I quite liked it. So
Can we say who put it together?
Couldn't tell you. Some rando. Couldn't tell you. And if I could, I totally would. Shout out to whoever this guy is. So WWE Championship, The Rock versus Roman Reigns. The World Heavyweight Championship, Punk versus Seth Rollins. Makes complete sense.
Yep.
This is assuming that Cody's not getting his shot. It would be Randy Orton versus Cody. Not as good as the other one, but it's something.
No.
IC title, Brock versus Gunther.
Yes, 100%. I think there's no one else to take on Gunther.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Amazing.
It's end boss versus end boss.
Yeah. It's going to be shit hot. It's going to be so good.
And, dude, it's going to be meat fest.
Yeah. Oh, just chopping, wrecking.
And I will add, you put Big E on commentary for that match.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Women's World Heavyweight, Rippers versus Becky.
Okay.
This one was the one that was kind of a bit speculative, and I don't think it's going to happen, but I like the idea of it. So you can interchange one of these names. So it would be the Women's WWE Championship. It'll be Bianca Belair versus either Sasha Banks or Jade Cargill.
Okay.
With the United States Championship.
Sasha's out.
Oh, yeah.
Sasha's out
as it stands right. Well, until anything's locked in.
This is true.
It's all speculative because we've been worked before. We'll do it again.
Yeah, well, look, it was only a few months ago we were told Punk was out. It wasn't happening.
And then the United States, the United States Championship, LA Knight versus Logan Paul.
Yep, I like that.
That would be so insane. And then, of course,
I think that one there is the only one that makes sense for LA Knight, and I think that there's a day 1 or day 2 opener.
Oh, yeah. And then LA Knight's winning, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've achieved what they've wanted to do with Logan Paul, which is give him the belt, let him take it, do all these contenty nonsense, go to these brothers' boxing matches or whatever, carrying the belt, get that recognition. And then you take it, LA Knight gets the
you think he has actually moved the needle, though, on bringing in non-WWE fans?
I
think that was the strategy.
I can't speculate on it, mostly because I'm not a part of Logan Paul's viewer base. I don't follow him. I don't care for him outside of his wrestling prowess. So, like, I would have to assume on his level of influence in outside. I think having it a boxing event makes sense. Just because it's that collaboration, there might be some people that go, oh, okay. And I think it's enough to at least go, oh. And then if you know someone that knows wrestling, you'll go, oh, did Logan Paul a wrestler? Like, well, yeah, and he's really fucking good. And they go,
yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll check it out. And then who knows? That's all you need. Wrestling, all you need is that that way in, whether it be just watching a match or watching a show like Heels, and that makes you go, oh, hang on, and you start to understand how it all works and how it all comes together.
See, whereas my son is a Logan Paul fan.
Yeah.
And he's not a wrestling fan at all. He was when he was younger. He doesn't give a shit now.
Yeah.
And the closest he has got to showing an interest in Logan Paul being in the WWE was, one, he's seen the TikToks and the Instagram content. But the only thing that I would say was an investment that he was considering was he wanted to play WWE 2K23 because Logan Paul was in it.
Hey, once again, once you get in, you're in.
But he has no interest in watching the show.
Oh, well, for now.
For now. I'll bring him back.
Yeah, that's right. And then I also added Jimmy versus Jey Uso in some sort of cool stipulation. I haven't worked out what it'd be yet.
See, that I think that's an interesting one. Is do you get all the way to Mania if Rock's involved without Jay being involved in that story, or do you bring him back into the bloodline?
Well,
or do you have him team with Rocky?
It depends. So this is the thing. So
because I think he's the outlier in the story that no one has really considered yet.
You and I, can we get into our chain? Because like everything hinders around like the way I see this path going hinders on this one.
Okay, let's get into it because my position changed on Chamber.
Yeah.
All right. So the other thing that did come out once Rock did his whole thing is maybe it doesn't happen at Mania, maybe it happens at Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say this: up until this afternoon, that makes no sense. Why would you put Rock on a pay-per-view that airs at 4 a.m. in the US?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Australian audience isn't as big as the American audience. The UK audience is not really going to be awake at that time either. They're going to be struggling to watch it. The time zone that we're in is very limited for it being convenient for the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm. That
was my thinking going into it, even though I know that there is a report out there that Western Australia government, WA government has put in a pitch for Rocky to be there, and that came out about a month ago. Even though I knew that, I was just like, I don't see WWE taking the bait on that.
Yeah.
However, I have had a couple of DMs in the last 6 hours. There was the conversation I had with you, but someone of some repute, and I cannot say who it was, and I will not say who it was. They sent me some information that basically made me go, fuck.
Oh, I'm going to have
It's happening.
I need to hear this when we're done.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if I can share it with you, but I'll tell you the story.
I'll keep that shit under wrap.
Yeah. But essentially, somebody messaged me and said Elimination Chamber is more likely than you think it is.
Yeah, and so like my reasoning was a couple of different things. It was apart from the WA government putting a thing going, hey, we'll front the cash essentially, which is a big one. And like I thought that was a pie in the sky until like this, ex-champion was going to make it. There's a couple of things that they have done semi-recently to indicate this is fucking, like, they have plans. So previously, WWE has really focused on the idea of the big four, right? Which is your Mania, Rumble, SummerSlam, and whatever the other one was. What is the other one?
Was it Survivor Series?
Survivor Series, thank you. Oh my God, my brain.
Yeah.
Right, there's your four. However, over the last couple of years, they've really demonstrated that every pay-per-view should be important.
Yeah.
We saw that in the UK.
Money in the Bank was huge.
Money in the Bank was massive, and it was in Puerto Rico, right? Like, it had legitimate consequence. Clash in the Castle, what previously would normally be a throwaway show, because it's like not even a big named one, it's off to the side, of consequence.
Yeah, Crown Jewel, same thing. Even closer, Elimination Chamber 2023, Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns for the title. Yep. We all thought the belt was going to change. Yep.
So they have clearly set up an idea that every show is important. There's no fucking B pay-per-views anymore. We're on a run, we're doing it, right? And when these
international shows are important.
They are, so because if they wanted to do an unimportant show here, they would do a WWE live show. And they were going to, up until they announced Chamber. So you've got an arena in WA, which is pretty landlocked. Huge. It's a shit place to be. Yep. It's 70,000 seats.
It's also a shit place for anyone else in Australia to get to.
Correct. It's shit to get to internationally. It's shit to get to in Australia. So, they need to make it mean something.
Yeah.
Tickets weren't moving as well as they hoped last I heard.
Yep.
But they're going to be moving now. So that's my theory. So my theory is that'll happen. We get Rock versus Roman main eventing Chamber. You get Cody Rhodes in that Chamber match, getting the shot to then go. So there's two ways that it can go in under my theory. First one, Roman goes over at Chamber. He is now head of the table. It makes him look like that unstoppable boss, that monster. There's like, I am unstoppable. So when Cody gets the win on him, makes it even better. Right? Huge pop.
Exactly.
The other one, which I kind of like a bit better, is Rock goes over. Therefore, Roman loses the title that is head of the table. So once again, we should stipulate the Roman versus Rock, not a belt match. It's for the title of head of the table. So we no longer have a fast lane. There's no pay-per-view in March. It goes February straight through to Mania. So whatever happens at Chamber is integral to what happens at Mania.
Yeah.
Roman loses. He gets rocked, pun intended. He gets all the wind knocked out of him. Through that process, Jimmy can get involved there, or Jimmy can get involved earlier. Jay can get involved earlier, I should say. Jimmy falls off after losing the title. He's like, well,
why am I here?
Why am I here? Because his whole thing was he wants to be the next
Roman.
Roman.
Now irrelevant.
Yeah, he wants to be the next Roman. He wants to be the next head of the table. And he's like, well, you're not it anymore. Why the fuck am I following you?
Yeah.
And then Solo's always been on like the cusp of this entire time. He's always kind of just there. Once that respect is gone, Solo steps away. Then all you have left is Heyman. And then during that time, Heyman kind of drifts away as well. So what you get...
look, I wouldn't be surprised if Heyman drifts away. He drifts towards Punk.
Exactly, right? Like, then he goes to Punk. And like that could be a thing in itself.
I love the fact that they've continually told the story with Heyman is he's a leech.
Oh, yeah. He just goes to whoever's biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then you could also have, if they hint at Brock versus Gunther, Heyman could be like, I don't know where to go. There's 3 people. Like, that could be a bit of fun as well. So essentially, it ends. It'll have Roman heading into Mania by himself. Every match he's had to this point has purely been won by the assistance of the bloodline. Right? Mm-hmm. There's fuckery. There's always some sort of shenanigans that gets it across the line. He doesn't have that anymore. So he's got that. He's emotionally shaken. He has to win. So he's going to throw everything. You name it, it's going to go nuts. He's going to leave nothing in the back, which will also make Cody even better when he wins. He defeats him at his essentially his weakest, like the vulnerable, where he's most vulnerable, I should say, not weakest, because he'll be like just swing hit, like backed into a corner, swing hitting.
So this is my issue with that is if you've got Cody versus Roman, why? The title's not there.
No, the belt is still there. The only thing he has left is the belt. He lost the title of head of the table because the match at Chamber wasn't.
So he's kept
match.
the title.
He's got the belt. That's the only thing he has left.
So I was just going to say, there's another possibility in this.
Yeah,
is he does lose the title at Chamber.
What, to Rock? We get Rock versus Roman. Rock
and
versus
you get
Cody.
Rock versus Cody.
Oh, that would be stupid. And I love that too.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with it.
Like, that's a Vince McMahon booking right there.
That is a Vince McMahon booking.
See, and that was one of the things we discussed as well, is I think the way WWE are running right now is that story is key.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Or to throw some stupid McMahon booking at you.
Please.
This is what you do. Roman drops the title to Rock at Elimination Chamber. Mm-hmm. Then on Raw the next week, you've got Cody coming out to challenge Rock. But Rocky says, there's one more match I still need to do. And then he calls out John Cena for third in a lifetime.
Well, look, with the history of Ric Flair right now, it's not right now, it's been garbage for years. The only person that I would truly love to take his record would be Cena. I think Cena deserves it.
Totally. And so anyway, but I hate the idea of there being a world heavyweight title match without Roman or Cody.
Yeah. Or
yeah. I do like the idea of Rock versus Roman at the Chamber with no title on the line.
Yeah.
So I don't want your title.
Yeah, exactly. I love that because that's what was it called? Was it not Mana? What was it?
Mana? Yeah, it's Mana.
Yeah, Mana. Right. So that's the thing. Mana. It's bigger than a belt.
It's bigger than a title.
Like this is what it is. Like this is art. Like we're not fighting just for the title of head of the table. We're fighting for the family. We're fighting.
And he could actually play it into his whole storyline, like own the reality of what's going on in the world. It's like, I don't want the title, and these guys don't want me to win the title and be a part timer like you've been for the last 12 months.
Oh, you popped me just then. That was really good. Yes.
Right. Like. And the thing is, like, we know that Triple H does not mind leaning into a bit of reality.
Yeah.
Like, pull the curtain back a wee bit. Like, we know what the fans are saying.
Yeah. And the other thing as well is, as we were talking about earlier with, the families, the royal families of wrestling, it solidifies that point that, there's more than one Royal Wrestling family.
Yeah.
So that, because there's not many other families going on at the moment, so it would make sense, and it kind of wraps that up nicely. Not that like the Samoan dynasty is going anywhere anytime soon, but it's just like kind of like, well, let's take it. It does make me wonder about like the original plans, like Paul Heyman's like fourth inning or whatever nonsense. But
yeah,
that's my theory, and it's I love a good fantasy book. It's the best part. That's the best part about doing comms is my entire job is just to like speculate and talk nonsense.
Yeah. So yeah,
and play into the story. It's the best.
And I think that's the thing about this moment in WWE is this is the most unpredictable WWE has been since I have been a fan. Like, I'll be honest, even in the 90s and the Attitude Era, like, it was still pretty predictable. This is the most unpredictable Mania season I can think of.
Yeah.
Where Triple H keeps bringing in people that throw spanners in the works of all of our fantasy booking.
Yeah, because like in that list that we put no mention of the women's tag, no mention of the men's tag. Because the other thing we could think about as well is the only reason the world heavyweight title exists is because Roman's a part-timer. So, and they're not going to redesign the world heavyweight anytime soon because they just did.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful belt.
Are they going to find a way to unify them again?
Yeah. I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
Think they should.
But if you want to think about it that way as well, like there's more because how's Cody going to get the winged eagle that he wants? There isn't a way unless they combine the two.
Yeah. Or you just redesign the Undisputed title and make it the WWE title again.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I hate the name of the Undisputed title.
I just refer to it as the WWE title. Yeah.
Well, my thing is the existence of the World Heavyweight title instantly means it's disputed.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So you cannot have an Undisputed title if there's another number one title, another top title. It just pisses me off because it means that I'm going to have to buy another bloody wrestling belt.
What a shame. It's a work expense.
Yeah. Well, as long as I'm doing this podcast, it absolutely is.
So what's your thoughts on all of that as a concept?
The thing is, I love that concept.
Yeah.
Right? I do love the idea. And even selfishly, like, if I manage to make it to Perth for Elimination Chamber.
I'm going to be there. You need to be there, my friend.
Look, Shippy keeps telling me the same thing. At minimum, Shippy is going to be there as media. But
I will be a smaller, fatter Phid if need be. I can't do a good accent, but I'll hang around.
Just slap on a beard and be like,
just mascara a beard on.
Yeah, and when you're doing interviews, and just be like, "Oh hey bro,
oh I'm Phid."
And then you just got to mark out when you meet Dakota Kai.
Oh, 100%. I was going to do it anyway, but that's cool.
Look, we've been talking about just Rocky for the last 45 minutes.
Happily, by the way.
Happily. But there are other things we need to get onto. What I will say is, if you're listening to this and you've got other dream booking for Rocky, whether it be at Elimination Chamber or if it's at Mania, hit us up on Twitter at DWN Under the Ring or Down Under the Ring on every other social platform. We'd love to hear it. And we're going to go to a break and come back, and we've got some very quick AEW stuff, and then I want to speculate about some Royal Rumble stuff.
Oh, because we haven't done enough speculation.
Yeah, but Royal Rumble season is the best time to speculate.
Easy.
Before we go any further, this show is brought to you by OG Nerd. OG Nerd represents the gamers, the cosplayers, the collectors, the model makers, the tattooists, the artists, and the athletes. They are not just a clothing brand, they are a subculture. OG Nerd revel in their halcyon youth and embrace the lifestyle driven by nostalgia, humble beginnings, and heroes.
OG Nerd strives to offer quality, comfortable, and above all stylish streetwear apparel inspired by a lifetime of gaming, music, and street art. I've worked with OG Nerd for many years and find their apparel second to none in terms of quality and appearance. Whether it's at a wrestling show or a convention, you'll be hard-pressed to find a better armor for your rig. Get yours at ognerdlife.com.
All right, we're right back, and AEW just had their big end-of-year pay-per-view, World's End.
Good name for a show, by the way.
Great name for a show. Lackluster show for the first 3 quarters, I will say. I think the first 2 hours were meh. I won't say it's the worst AEW show because I started watching AEW from its beginning and there were some shockers in that first year. And even during the pandemic where it was, they were making do with what they could do, right? But I think there was a lot to be desired in those first few matches. There was some fumbles, but the last 3 matches were amazing. But what I really wanted to talk about is MJF versus Samoa Joe and the unmasking of the devil. I went into this with a lot of speculation who I thought the devil and his cronies were. Firstly, I'll say that match was a fucking banger. It was an amazing match. I was convinced that MJF was actually going to win it, most of it.
I didn't expect it to change.
I didn't expect it to change, and I didn't expect him to lose the way he did. And it's because I think we're so convinced now, we're so conditioned to, during a submission, you've got the face in the headlock or the choker or whatever it is, they're raising the arm, first arm, drop. Second arm, drop. Third arm
is the hold tight.
It's the whoa, and it's back up, right? And I can't remember a main event or a world title win where it has been just a submission via choke out, via actually
not without it being a shonky finish.
Exactly, right. And this was a clean finish. Most of this match was a clean match. And stoked to see Joe win, right? And I think MJF has had an amazing run, right? Came into it as a bad guy, going out as a face. Absolutely amazing run. He's told some amazing stories in that time, and he's done it with some adversity behind the scenes going on, right? So he's still managed to tell an amazing story where there's been shit go on during press conferences that took the attention away from him. There's been things happening behind the scenes that have taken the attention away from him. He opened and closed the biggest wrestling match of all time, the biggest wrestling event of all time.
Yep.
And the news coming out of it wasn't him.
Yeah.
Right? So being able to stand out during that time, amazing. Full credit to MJF. You are our scumbag. Right? But I came into this knowing that there was going to be some fuckery from the devil. I actually thought we were going to get an Undisputed Era reunion.
I would have loved it if it was. You had some.
I genuinely thought what we were going to end up with was Cole, Fish, O'Reilly, and Roddy Strong.
Yeah.
And maybe even include in there, I think I speculated that it could potentially also be FTR.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah. But that was my speculation. I did not think that it was going to be the people that were obvious.
Well, that was the thing. So very early, I was like, I'd probably Cole. So I didn't I didn't invest a lot of myself into it because I was like, oh, everyone's like, oh, what if it's Jungle Boy? I'm like, nah, look at the frame. It's Cole.
Yeah, it's Cole.
Cole's
And-
injured, so he can't do a whole lot. This guy's not working. He's just in a menacing looking. It's Cole. And
Yeah.
then, of course, the Britt Baker thing in that Doja Cat video. I'm like, is Cole.
Yeah.
Which not like once again, these are in wrestling. I find that sometimes, like the CM Punk return, like we know what's coming, doesn't make it bad. And
sometimes booking what we want is not a bad thing.
exactly,
And going back to Mania, I think we're going to get a lot of that.
100%, and I'm going to be stoked about it.
Yep.
Absolutely stoked about it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the fan service Mania.
Because remember, like I saw, obviously not watching. I didn't watch World's End because I think was it January 1st for us?
No, it was the 30th for us.
Oh, I think I was getting day drunk, so I probably didn't pay attention. I wasn't watching the wrestling. But I saw the picture of Cole, and I was like, oh, I had the same thought as you. I'm like, shit, is this Undisputed? Like a Cole, Roddy, yeah, Wardlow, what? Who's that guy?
Yeah.
So,
well, even Wardlow to me wasn't recognizable instantly.
Yeah, it just
because he's got the full beard and the full head of
it's a
hair
bit
at the
different
moment,
now.
and I didn't instantly recognize him. I don't think Roddy Strong is an instantly recognizable face because of the way they've been presenting him recently.
Yeah.
But
there's enough hint on that as well of the whole,
Well, this is my issue with it is everybody that they've had involved in that story, like Wardlow's been saying, I'm coming for you, MJF. We've had the Kingdom and Roddy involved in this entire storyline with Cole. It would just seem too obvious for them to go down that route.
But I love that, though, because, swerves are fun, but not for the sake of swerves.
No, but I don't think it would have been a swerve for the sake of a swerve. I think bringing back Undisputed Era as a whole, because we haven't had them as a whole.
But isn't Kyle O'Reilly recovering from injury?
He is, but it's not the first time we've had someone come back from injury.
It's true.
Or the news that's been leaked
Fish
about
has
someone's
dropped
injury
as well.
being
He's off working.
He's independent.
Oh, is he? I thought he was working Impact or something.
No. He's independent. So it could have been done potentially. I don't know where O'Reilly is actually, but look, it's not the first time news that's been leaked about someone's health has been fake.
Yeah.
If it had been that. But the thing is now is what happens with MJF. There's a big speculation at the moment and question marks around, has he re-signed? I personally think he has re-signed.
Me too. There's no way he hasn't.
And you throw the bank balance at him because he's the biggest star you've got right now.
Yeah. So I would argue that he's been signed for 8 months. And they are just working the fun of it, right? And I
think when they brought him back as the devil, he was re-signed.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Nothing would make me happy if I'm talking about wrestling, Royal Rumble speculations. Nothing would make me happier than, and then he just comes out.
Or at least something close to that.
Oh, no, apparently that music's royalty free.
So
he could take it with him.
Is that not a Mikey Ruckus?
Apparently not.
Oh.
This is Twitter as a source here. I didn't do any more looking then. I was like, oh, okay, sure, why not?
Look, I think I said to you recently, well, you liked my tweet on it, was I think he's re-signed, but imagine you've got Cody, you've got CM Punk as two last people in the ring, but number 40 is yet to come out. The music hits, it's MJF, and you've got 3 AEW guys.
Well, my entire plan
who are all tied together.
My entire plan was because you finish Mania with Cody, with Punk, 2 ex-AEW dudes, rocking belts. That is a big FU if they want to do it that way. I don't think Triple H is that petty, but he could be. But even from a branding perspective, right? But yes, the final 3 coming out at 30s, MJF, once again, MJF who came in as kind of Cody's protege, had that Ripper run with Punk. I would die. I think that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And look,
I
would die.
I think it would be an amazing challenge as well for MJF to can he be MJF with the limitations that WWE present? Because you cannot present MJF in exactly the same way as you do in AEW with this swearing, this overt sexism, at times some racism in there as well.
I
Can you present that exactly the same in WWE? I don't think so. I think you have to put some limits in there to keep sponsors happy.
I disagree. Mostly because WWE and the way they work their wrestlers, character is key, right? Where AEW is the super indies, right? Like their characters are them, really. So having someone that is so heavy in their kayfabe, he suits WWE, and I guarantee they'd be willing to make an exception. And like they'll allow him, they might not drop an F-bomb or whatever, but they'll probably let him drop a shit or whatever. And like maybe if he's allowed to sort of somewhat, we've had DX for Christ's sake, like they will find a way to deliver it in a PG, PG-13. You get one fuck, make it count. So that's sort of the idea, right? So give MJF the fun. The only thing that would be interesting would be, what happens when you have 3 ex-AEW people in the final of the Rumble. Like that seems pretty shitty to every WWE wrestler that's there. But I get it.
But we're in an era where we're not ignoring AEW completely anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, from
making nods.
Yeah.
Like
because that feels like something Tony Khan would do.
Yeah, but Seth has made nods towards AEW in his promos about Punk.
Yeah.
So, like, he straight up ripped Hangman's.
Oh, yeah, so that was
promo.
awesome.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, and I love the idea of MJF coming in the Rumble. I don't think it's going to happen, but God.
Well, from what I saw today, he's hurt. So getting recovered in the next 20 days, unlikely.
Not likely.
But once again, as you mentioned earlier, people have talked injuries as works before.
Yep. And look, MJF has worked the boys in the back before.
Oh, yeah.
Like that entire time he was gone after he cut that promo on Dynamite in Los Angeles, nobody knew what was happening.
Yeah. Once again, for someone that lives and breathes kayfabe the old school way, like he's the guy.
Oh, absolutely. So, look, I think it's interesting. I'd love to see it. But while we're speculating about MJF coming into the Rumble, I did want to have a chat to you about who are your picks for surprise entrance in the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Not rostered members. Like, I think this year will be a heavy rostered Rumble. But I think what's great about the Rumble is the surprise entrance.
Yeah.
Whether that be a return that's joining the roster or a fun surprise. That's maybe you're going to be on Raw the next day, but that's it. Who have you got?
All right. So I've jotted a couple down as we were going, as my brain got jumped to remember.
Do you want to start off with the men?
I'll start with the men. I've got 2 men so far, but I'm sure I'll think of more. These are 2 that just stood out to me. The first one is an interesting one, mostly because they've kind of had a bit of a run on YouTube as of late. They even did a video a couple of days ago about how they almost re-signed with WWE just prior to the pandemic. Yep. That's Maven.
Okay, so top of my list, number 1 on my list is Maven.
Yes.
So I put this list together 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And top of my list was Maven, and it's because dude has reinvented himself and put himself as one of the top wrestling YouTubers at the moment. Like, he's relevant again. So much so that I've used his channel to pitch to my day job to be like, we need to do this. But like for NRL, because the founder of the company that I work for is an ex-NRL player. I'm like, you make this, but NRL, we will push the brand. Oh, absolutely. Great content. He's doing amazing. And he looks like he's ready to go still. Yeah. And I think he's a fun, get a pop, come in and do a couple of spots, get eliminated by someone huge, let's say Omos. Yeah. And he's out, right? But it'd be cool. A nice payday for him as well. Yeah, 100%. Because I think, for those those in the know probably watch his stuff. So even if it's just hey, he's that guy, that's cool. Exactly. Okay, here's my next one then. Yeah. We'll go one for one because I have no doubt we're going to have crossovers
Oh,
here.
I've only got one other one. I know you're going to pick him.
Yeah, Matt Cardona.
Yeah, that's my other one. Yeah.
I think Matt Cardona is an easy pick for this, but I think you bring him out with just to get the pop. You have the woo 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 that he used to have at the start of his music. Like you do the woo woo woo, you know it. But then it's Matt Cardona's music,
Yeah, not
and
Zack
it's
Ryder.
always ready on the screen, and he comes out as Matt Cardona.
Yeah. Like, I would love, even if they have
And
it
he
as
comes
Matt
out with the crown.
Oh, yeah. Well, if for me, I know this wouldn't happen, but I would love it. On the Tron, it's like, Matt Cardona, king of the Indies, right? Like, they give him full king
Lean
of the
in.
Indies, comes out with it. It's not going to happen, but he's decked out in all like 11 belts. He just, like, that would be dope.
I think at least he comes out with his original Internet Championship.
Yeah, the Internet Championship is 100% happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have him come out with Chelsea's tag team title.
Yes. Because that's kind of the key reason. And like on socials, he's like, "Oh, this adds one of my belts to the list."
Yeah.
Because like, so I know he's got the WSW belt. He's got a bunch of other indies. He doesn't have a GCW belt at the moment because he had the deathmatch title for a while. That was awesome.
Yeah. That run was transformative for him.
King of the deathmatch, Brent.
Oh, it was amazing. All right, since you haven't got anyone else on your list, here's a big one.
Unless I can think of something as you go.
Here's a big one. He is signed, but we have not seen him for very obvious reasons. We debut Uncle Howdy.
Oh! Ooh.
I see the brains ticking over there.
Yeah, the brain's ticking for two reasons. One, I would love it because it's if it's done right, it would be nice and sweet and sentimental. But I do worry about like if it's done bad. Like I would love it more if it was Bo Dallas.
We could bring just back Bo,
and then
I think
maybe he's
Uncle
got
Howdy
like
because...
some Bray inspired gear.
Yep,
and like we can all have a collective cry because we will.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think I think having him come out as Bo Dallas, it might be would be nice.
100%, absolutely at Mania, we are getting a something.
Oh, we're getting Bray Wyatt Hall of Fame. I assure you.
Yeah, and we're going to get something that's going to make us cry at Mania as well. So yeah, I think there's Bo Dallas maybe. I think the only reason I went for Uncle Howdy is because I'd like to see Uncle Howdy come and continue the story.
Well, it depends on what they're going to do with Howdy. If he comes out and he takes off the mask and it's Bo, like I would like that too. He comes out as Howdy and then it just kind of like from more of a sentimental moment to be like, oh my God, oh, okay, that's lovely.
It's Bo.
Yeah.
That works. Okay, book that. I like that.
Yeah, because I don't see them doing the story much longer or continuing it just out of respect. So like, let's put it to bed. The other one I just thought of, which made me kind of chuckle, if you want a nice moment, would be Heath Slater.
That would be cool.
Like him and Cardona in the ring. Hey!
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Yeah, well, look, we're doing the whole 2011 rerun right now, so why not?
Yeah.
All right. Here's one I'm not sold on.
Okay.
But it's on the list because why not?
Mm-hmm.
Bully Ray.
Yeah. Can he still go?
Because the oldies, he can still go. He's still going in Impact.
I was going to say, yeah.
They have no qualms in using Impact stars.
Well, if the report that went out today is any possible truth, there looks to be some WWE TNA friendliness.
Well, look, I know that...
They had Mickie James come out with the Knockout champ.
Exactly. And they acknowledged her as the Impact Knockouts champion. And TNA and TKO parent company Endeavor are in a partnership.
Ooh.
So
that's very likely. Very, very likely.
Okay, so now here is my...
I like that one, yeah.
Here's my big surprise. I don't know if you do it at Rumble, but this person's contract is coming up and nobody's really talking about it. It is an AEW superstar.
Oh, well, in that case, before you jump in there, Sean Spears as well. He just...
Bring him out at number 10.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Bring him at number 10. His contract is expired because there's another reason why I've got him on the list.
Okay, why's that?
Oh, the ladies. We'll get there in just a second.
Okay, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my one. I love this guy. I think he's an amazing performer. I think he's been underutilized at AEW. And I think if anyone could transform, it would be WWE. All ego Ethan Page.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ricky Starks. I'm like, that'd be shit hot, but his contract's not done yet. Actually, Ethan Page, yeah. Once again, a very character-driven wrestler. The character didn't really land.
No. And I think,
Yeah.
because I don't know if you watch
He's
his
a good
YouTube
mid-carder.
content. Yeah, right. I don't know if you've watched his YouTube content and stuff.
Sorry, I'm ADHDing hard right now. Get him and Waller, and who's Waller working with right now? Him and Theory. Get like the three of them. That's a fucking cunty stable right there.
That
like,
could
that's
be a
gonna
cunty
be
stable.
so good.
But the way I was going to go with this is Ethan Page in reality is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Right?
I've watched his
He
vlogs.
is
His
a
vlogs are
sweetheart.
incredible.
I think he hasn't had a chance to be a face yet.
Oh, okay.
And I think he could be a great face.
Yeah. Okay, no, I like that too.
That's really left field, that one.
And look,
But
there's a higher likelihood of that than I think of like some other bigger ones. Most because, as you mentioned, it's low enough to go under the radar. As I said, he's a great mid-carder, so there's a good potential in there. There's none of that expectation that he's going to do the best things in the world. Like, get him an LA Knight, there's good space in that middle ground.
But in saying that, I don't think he gets a pop. I think most
the marks
of the
will get it, but
the marks will get it, but most of the WWE universe will question mark face it.
Well, that happens all the time. Like, remember there was a couple of years ago, the thing that like Xia Li came out and no one knew who she was at the time.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, woo.
Yeah.
But now everyone's probably like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean.
So let's go talking about the ladies, because I think there's some interesting options there too.
The first one is like the biggest one, and I think everyone hopes and dreams of this. The likelihood is low, but having watched season 2 of Heels a little while ago, and you can see that they can still go, and with the recent addition of a member in the WWE roster that is CM Punk, so it's AJ Lee. Like that's the hopes and dreams for everyone, isn't it?
I think that's more likely than you think, bro. Have you been watching her Instagram stories?
I've seen like her gear and stuff. I'm like, ooh. And then she's showing footage of her season 2 of Heels. I'm like, ooh.
She also Instagram storied a video of her training with Punk.
See, I just thought that was her training for the show.
I thought the same thing.
That'd be dope.
But it could be, or it could be.
I have friends that will faint.
Oh, my wife will pop.
Yeah.
There's two things my wife likes watching in wrestling. One, she loves the Rumble.
Yeah.
Because it's the funnest match of the year.
Yeah.
But the other one is WrestleMania. So she would pop for that.
Well, in that case, from the show, the card that we fucked around with before with WrestleMania, throw out Cargill, throw out Sasha, give me AJ Lee versus Bianca even, or give me AJ versus Rippers for the belt. I mean,
yeah. I think if AJ comes back, it's a pop moment, and that's it. I think in and out.
Oh yeah, that too. But if she hangs around, I'm okay with that. Yeah. Maybe get her and Nia Jax for a little bit. Nia Jax is kind of being a dominant right now. Like, that'd be fun.
Yeah. I'm not against it. Who else you got on your list?
Keeping that bloodline thing going. Trinity, a.k.a. Naomi.
Yep, that was on my list too.
Yeah. Well, because she's with Impact at the moment.
And word is she's in discussions.
Because they've got, their Hard to Kill is like really soon.
Yep.
And she's against...
Next week?
Yeah, Jordan Grace, I believe.
Yeah.
We're like, it's probably she'll drop it and then no harm in her coming over. Like, I think a lot of that bad blood is gone because there was a lot of Vince stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If there was more... If there was more secure information about Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné coming over, I would be more confident about Trinity/Naomi.
Yeah.
But I think she could still come separately. They left
absolutely.
together,
She could,
and it looked like they were going to be side by side for a while. But then, the second as Mercedes went over to like
New Japan.
Stardom and stuff with New Japan, I was like, okay, it's very likely they're going separate ways now.
Yeah. The other one that I had on the list, now, who was it for the ladies? No, it's gone.
Well, while you're pondering, this one is purely for me, and just so that I can hear it at Chamber. We get the Iconics.
Oh,
Peyton
I would
Royce,
love-
Billy fucking Kay, like, you know, they've just had babies, so shout out to them. They come out of the Rumble, they get into a fight with, let's say, Chelsea and, is Chelsea, oh no, their belt changed hands, didn't it?
yes. Chelsea's now back on the hunt.
Yeah. So what I would like to see, if they do like the women's chamber match, I guess, like a tag match for funsies, you can get, Elba Fire and Dawn in one of the things. You get Iconics in another, Chelsea and Piper in another pod. Make that feel important. We get a huge hometown pop for the Iconics because I'm going to do it. I will like shit myself.
Oh,
the best
so
thing
would
in the
I.
world. Like, that was the one thing that I truly adored, and I'm so bummed that they got let go. Even if they bring him back for like a short run, just to like do Rumble, do Chamber, and then go away again.
Yeah, in and out.
Which also
Right,
would make sense why Sean Spears is there too, being the wife of Peyton, the husband of Peyton.
Yeah.
That would be fun too.
Exactly. Okay, I did remember my other one, and this one plays into storylines that will happen later.
Ooh, I like this.
Dakota Kai.
Yes, coming out of injury would be dope.
Right, so I think she returns, and now she's active, back on the roster as an active member, and we can start to see the disintegration.
Yes, and she eliminates Bailey. Boom.
Yeah,
Bailey
and,
Dakota Mania.
exactly. But I also think what's going to end up happening is she's been plotting against Bailey this entire time.
Well, you watch all those little snippets, right? Bailey ain't the leader.
No, she ain't the leader anymore.
No, man.
No. And I think
How much
Dakota-
does that fill your heart, by the way?
Oh,
this is
dude.
an idea.
I've been following Dakota Kai's career since she was an indie wrestler in New Zealand.
Yeah.
When she was Evie on the IPW in New Zealand and doing all the small indies, I saw her in a high school gym the first time I saw her
Awesome.
live. And seeing her career get to where it has gotten and be a recognizable face that people love, so happy.
See, with that in mind as well, I would
And
also...
also the fact that we've also got a main eventer in AEW as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Switchblade.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a good win. Because, like, speaking of Australian, because it's similar to yourself, like, you know, with Dakota over there, like, I wouldn't surprise me if they put Indy Hartwell in there as well.
Oh,
Now,
she makes sense.
One of the final matches that I saw at MCW before I didn't go again was, I think it was Indy Hartwell versus Steph DeLander.
Oh, yeah.
So I would love to, like, you know, if Cardona's going to be there, got to have DeLander.
Bring Steph in as well.
And if you get a moment, at least for us as Australians, you get DeLander, Rippers, Indy, you know, like just and maybe the Iconics, just a ring of Australian, and then go, there's so much Australians. Elimination Chamber next month. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right. But in saying that, here's a dream booking for Chamber. You have Dakota Kai versus Indy Hartwell. You've got basically the Bledisloe Cup of wrestling.
Yeah.
Like Australia versus New Zealand. Like a good local pop.
Yeah. That'd be
Especially
dope.
Indy's working face at the moment.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
I don't think ooh. Yeah, that'd be dope. Yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah. But look, I'm really curious if anyone who's listening or if you're watching, let us know who's your
And
dream
be shameless
booking
about
for.
it, in that, like, we just listed a bunch of things that makes us excited. Nothing to do with the story or what's best for
Some
business.
of them don't even make sense.
No. Like, why the fuck would you book Indy versus Dakota? No one would want that. We want
Yeah.
that.
We want that.
Just
Why-
make a
what-
chamber match of all Australian women or ANZ women. That would be amazing.
Exactly.
You know, yeah, there you go. Your DeLander, your Rippers, your, Dakota. Like, just fucking have fun and put both, the Iconics in there as well. Just every woman in that match is Australian or from New Zealand. Perfect.
Love
Done.
it.
Make it happen.
Yep. So who do you want to see in return in the Rumble? Let us know. Flick us a tweet, DWE Under the Ring, or everywhere else, Down Under the Ring. And I think now we'll go into a bit of Australian pro wrestling, because while we do love AEW, while we do love WWE, we also love ourselves a bit of Impact. We love Australian and New Zealand local pro wrestling, because let's be honest, a lot of the people we've talked about in this last hour have been Australians or Kiwis that have come up through this very local system, all these independents. And we like to give love to a lot of these guys, and let you know where you can see some pro wrestling in your region, starting with All Star Pro Wrestling Australia. They've got 2 events coming up in January. Summer Spectacular on the 13th, which is happening at the Padstow RSL, and then Born to be Wild, which is happening on the 27th of January, Hamilton North Bowling Club in Newcastle. But I'm going to throw it to you, Ryan. What's happening in your neck of the woods?
Oh, that's shamelessly promote the ones that I'm hanging out at. So if you're around the Seaford area here in Victoria, be sure to check out APW. It's Adrenaline Pro Wrestling Breakout 38 on Friday the 19th of January. That is at the APW Arena. So Breakout is their secondary show to their big shows. So it's a great way to see a lot of up-and-coming local talent, and so those individuals that you will see around the state in future. Following that, you've got MXW Goodness Gracious on Saturday, 20th January in Ballarat. Big one there is Will Walker versus A-Shack in a 3 stages of hell match for the Ascend Championship. I'll be at APW for sure on the comms table. Come say hey. MXW, not too sure yet, but if not, come say hey. And then another big one locally before we head into February is Renegades of Wrestling. We are Renegades on Thursday the 25th at the Melbourne Pavilion. So the day before the public holiday, come bring in whatever the public holiday is with the power of wrestling. Start your night at the show, head on out in the city, and enjoy yourself. And then after that as well, which we haven't put on the list, but I'm going to drop it here now, is MCW Melbourne City Wrestling on the 10th and the 11th of February. It is the MCW anniversary weekend. If you are a big fan of AEW, be sure to check it out. Buddy Matthews, the current MCW champion, is taking on Slex for that title. So you get yourself a sneaky little AEW wrestler while you're there.
Sounds awesome. And, of course, announced actually today, World Series of Wrestling. They've got their Most Wanted Tour, which is happening between the 28th of June and the 1st of July. It's a while out, but the reason we wanted to drop it in here is because tickets go on sale this month on the 17th of January. And if you want to see Impact stars, if you want to see AEW stars,
if you want to see super indie, like real good super indies,
if you want to see Matt Cardona, because he's guaranteed to be there, because he has to come over and get his yearly fix of Hungry Jacks.
Yep, and he's got that belt and kind of has to.
He will be there, and it's an amazing show. They do an entire tour of the country, so check them out on social media.
It's doing Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. So it's Brisbane is, I forget which stadium. Sydney is Penrith, the Panther Stadium thing. Melbourne is the Pavilion, and Adelaide is the Adelaide Oval. How's that for memory?
Well done, dude. While I say dude, Where's My Ring is happening February the 23rd and the 24th over in Perth.
You will 100% see me at that show, because the one thing I love more than wrestling is deathmatch wrestling, and especially no-ring deathmatch is the funnest shit in the world. So you will 100% see me there. I am because I'm mates with like half the crew, and like I think a lot of Melbourne deathmatch wrestlers will be there. So I'm going to find a way to get on comms. I'll talk some nonsense. You'll 100% see me there.
And while we're talking about shows, we'll probably see you at EPW. They're doing the Aussie Wrestling Super Show, February 23rd at Willetton Stadium in Perth. And that there is going to be not just the stars of EPW, but they're going to have stars from all over Australian wrestling coming into the city to fight at this event, because, of course, this is the same week as WWE Elimination Chamber, which is happening at Optus Stadium in Perth.
And as far as we know, nothing really impressive will happen. Be pretty chill show.
Yeah, so make sure you see, like, get your tickets for
Yeah,
Deadlift
like
Ring and
watch it
EPW
later.
as well.
Like don't watch it live.
Yeah. But of course, WWE Elimination Chamber is Saturday, the 24th of February, and tickets are still available
And we'll be
at the
moving
moment
fast.
until they make any announcement that Dwayne's going to be there.
I got in early. I got pre-sale like the morning of, so I'm covered.
Dude, I'm purely in a situation where I'm like, I can't justify the ticket at the moment financially, but I'm working on a couple of options to potentially
This is
be
where we
there.
go. Hi, people that can assist. This is Phid. He's McAwesome. It's in his name. If for any reason you need an individual over at Perth during that February weekend for WWE Elimination Chamber, he's a man of many knowledges. That's a word around the wrestling scene. He's a great individual within not just that, but also the gaming, the media, the content space. He's your man. Here's your pitch. You should have Phid. Shit, if I had any way of doing it, I would get Phid involved. I work with Phid in my day job. I made it happen. He's that good, right? Get him happen.
I should get you to write my CV.
Yeah. If anyone did listen to that, appreciate. And if you want someone that can do a good hustle, hey, what's going on?
But anyway, that's all of our local. Go check it out. Make sure you see them. You don't know who's going to be on those shows, who are going to be the next big AEW and WWE superstar. So
especially EPW, you're going to see some. Like there's the one wrestler that I adore. Her name's Delta. She's the current MCW Women's and Males Intercontinental Champion. Intercommonwealth Champion, I should say. Sorry. She is exceptional. If you want someone that has it, and I'm surprised they're not picked up by a major company yet, she's the one.
Look, I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to be having tryouts over in Perth. So make sure you see these people while you can. And lastly, I want to thank you, Ryan, for jumping on board. Look, you said it on Twitter. Me and you, whenever we have a business meeting, a casual catch up at PAX, wherever, it always ends up being talking about pro wrestling anyway. So having you come in to take over for Shippy until we can get Shippy back online, much appreciated. And where can people find you online, dude?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the offer. It was a lovely message to get today. If you've not had enough of listening to this guy for whatever reason, you can check me out on my weekly PlayStation centered show. It's called For the Players, the Pop C PlayStation podcast. Each and every week, myself and my mate Max, we use our 10 years of experience in the games industry to talk about all the reviews, the previews, the up and coming, anything that's got to do with PlayStation or PlayStation tangentially. Where the guys think about it like a late show, right? It's personality driven, it's fun, it's entertaining, but you're gonna get some good stuff out of it. It's not just the regurgitation of news that you see in other pods. You know, every gaming podcast is kind of this is just a jam packed with energy and Australianness. Look, I have a ton of fun. We've been doing it for like 6 years now. There's only so many PlayStation shows in the country. There's like 3 of them, and I'm one of them. So if you love PlayStation, if you want to have some fun, come check it out, please. And according to some random thing that I found today on the internet, one of the top 3 PlayStation podcasts to check out in 2024 behind Press Start. I think that list is broken, but I'll take it.
Dude, claim it.
Claim it.
And whereabouts can they find you on your socials?
And if you want to find me on social medias, you can find me on Twitter predominantly at HaggardMC, HAGGARDMC. And that's pretty much the one I've got. I don't do TikTok or anything yet. I do have a plan that's coming down later down the line, something completely different to everything else that I do.
Yep.
But yeah.
And of course, they can meet you in person if they head along to MXW, APW, and Renegades of Wrestling.
Yeah, well, DM'd you when it comes back. Yeah, come say hey, man. Like, I'm around, like, especially with Renegades. My job is to be that friendly face to help you out. So come say hey, please.
And look, I look forward next time I'm in Melbourne. Hopefully, it lines up with any of those shows. I did tweet today. I really want to check out Renegades. I haven't seen them at all yet. So hopefully, I get to come and hang out with you and watch some pro wrestling locally.
It'll be fantastic. Love to have you.
And to everybody else, thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. Make sure you hit us up on our socials, DWN Under the Ring on Twitter /X, Down Under the Ring on Instagram and Facebook, or you can follow me at Phid McAwesome on everything. And Shippy's not here, but you should hit him up as well.
Yeah, sure.
He's at the Warship on everything. And once again, as per usual, if you can't find us there, you can find us down under the ring.
So I was drinking. It was a weird time to like take a drink. I'm sorry.
All good.